I'm Robin Stewart. Welcome everyone to this interview for the Autism Journal, where we explore the rationale, outcomes and challenges when putting together the special issue on autism research in a global context. I have with me today 4 of the 5 guest editors on this special issue. My first question is to you, Rosa. Can you give me the background to how this special issue came about?
Yes, the vast majority of autism research is done in North America and in Europe. So in Western countries, mostly English speaking. But this isn't where most people, autistic people live. Most kids with developmental disabilities, including autism, live in low and middle income countries that are usually not Western and usually don't have English as a first language. So this means that there's a huge gap in autism research. Most of what we know about autism, what characterizes it, what co-occurring difficulties might be common, what interventions may help, that research we mostly know from these high-income English-speaking Western countries. And so we really wanted to address this gap in this special issue and publish high-quality research from across the globe on autism.
What made this special issue unique?
So we didn't just want to publish autism research from across the globe. We also wanted to make sure that the authors publishing that work were from the countries where the work was conducted. In the past, what has sometimes happened is that researchers from high-income Western countries would go to a low-income countries, really with the best of intentions, to then collect data, leave the country, write up the results, and present it at conferences or publish it in journals with no involvement from local researchers, local authors, local autistic people. We didn't want this parachute type of research. So we stipulated when we invited manuscripts for the special issue that every paper needed to have representation of local authors of the work, where the work was conducted. We also wanted to make sure that the whole publishing pipeline had this global representation. So for this special issue, 5 guest editors were invited that represent continents across the globe. So we have a guest editor from India, from Nigeria, from Taiwan, someone based in the US, but originally from Latin America, and then there's me representing Europe. And probably because we had this global representation of editors, it was also a bit easier to invite reviewers from across the globe. Often the reviewer base to scrutinize manuscripts are mostly, again, from North America and from Europe. So now we had a much more diverse set of reviewers looking at these papers. And we're really proud of the end result, where we have papers really that are truly from authors and from countries across the globe, from South Africa, from Nigeria, from China, from Japan, from Chile, from Brazil. So we're really pleased with that end result. The other thing that I think makes this special issue unique is that we felt strongly, well, this is global work, but we also want it to be globally accessible, not just to those who have access to a library that can afford expensive journal subscriptions. So we were really pleased that the journal agreed to make all the articles in this special issue openly available.
Why is it so important that the global context special issue didn't just feature research from around the globe, but authors from the countries where the work took place too?
Just as a background, I think it's important to know that currently in the state of autism research, most of the researchers live in high-income settings. Most of the research agenda comes from high-income settings. But what we do know is that most of the children and their families live in the global south or in low-income settings. So I think as we went into this particular issue, we were very cognizant of that background to the work that has been happening. And we really wanted to ensure that the agenda had been set in the global south. So there was a collaborative agenda setting. It didn't reflect what we call in the field parachute research, where a high-income researcher just comes in, collects the data they want, and then leaves and then publishes it. And so this is really what we looked at when we looked at the large number of abstracts and papers that were submitted to the special issue. We wanted to ensure that the voices were very representative of the context in which the work was done. And it was important for us that the lead authors, particularly, came from low and middle income settings or the global south.
What are the challenges facing non-English speaking academics who want to publish in English language journals?
It's always a big challenge to us because we are not native in English. We got training when we want to um, write a manuscript in English very formally is a big challenge. So I think it's a big step to us. We need to try to let the all the scholar in the world to know what the finding, what the idea from our country, like Taiwan. So we in here, many of scholars they need some uh, uh, editor, some English professional editor to to try to modify to try to polish our writing. But it's even we finish that kind of procedure. In my personal experience in the past 20 years, I found that even we try to find some of professional editor to edit our English writing. But when we submit to the journal, and some of the journal editor or some of journal reviewer from Western countries scholar, and maybe more than 80% of them, they still think our English writing is not good enough. So it's still a big challenge. So we try, but we know it's a barrier. It's always a barrier. So to us, we think one way we want to use the English language to speak out our findings, our idea, and the other way we also try to use our own language to write to um, our scholar in my country. So as a non-English scholar, we always write at least two kind of language for publication.
How can publishers and researchers alike encourage more diversity in the future?
So I think one of the things that we've learned as a group in reviewing many articles that came from across the globe was that there's a wide variety in skill sets of researchers and authors that's largely dependent on the resources available, the funding available, and the network available for other autism researchers in the area. Many of us take for granted that we have a wide variety of resources at our fingertips, especially in the US. And I think one of the things that publishers can do is acknowledge that gap and provide support throughout the process of submission. That could include editing services, mentoring support services, and helping researchers connect with other researchers across the globe that might be available for collaboration and mentoring support around some of those areas like research methodology along the way. One of the things that researchers, I think, can do is really be conscientious of how they go in to global research and really not take for granted that they are able to bring their money and their skills and their funds into other areas. And one of the things when they're doing that is to think about how they do that. Are we jumping into a community and then leaving with our resources without any recognition of the impact that that's leaving on that community. What are some sustainable ways that we can not only bring that research and that that local area into light, but leave some supports there along the way, mentor some of the local researchers, and think about how we can build capacity among even early career researchers that might be interested in developing those skills and be able to take them back to their home communities and develop larger research programs.
Thank you very much for watching this interview for this special issue from the Autism Journal. I'm Robin Stewart. I'd like to thank Sage for publishing the Autism Journal. Thank you to you for watching, and thank you very much to my guests.